Bhagavataniki, Srila Prabhupadiki. Jai. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Where is Mataji?
She will be coming. She went at the
Okay.
There is some parallel things are also happening.
Kids party, yeah? Okay. Okay, we can start with the Bhīṣma Stuti and then go into the discussion.
I need the lyrics.
Yeah.
I need the lyrics. I need the lyrics.
I'll show the lyrics. Langa. You want to know?
It's fine. Sure, it's okay.
There is one more mic.
Now she's going to play with Mridanga, right? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
इति मातृरूपकं पितावितृष्णा भगवति सात्वतपुङ्गवे विभूमि
धीमतिरूपकल्पिता वितृष्णा भगवति सात्वतपुङ्गवे विभूमि कल्पिता वितृष्णा भगवती सात्वतपुङ्गवे विभूमि स्वसुखमुपगते क्वचिद्विहर्तुं स्तुतिमुपेयुषि यद्भवा स्वसुखमुपगते क्वचिद्विहर्तुं स्तुतिमुपेयुषि यद्भवा Vishvat Kachalulitashramavaryalং Kritasye Nishitasarai vividyamana vachivilasat kavache stuvesh atma sapadi sakhi vacho nishamyamadye Nijaparayor valayoratam niveshya Stitati parasai likayurakshna Pritavati partha sakherate mamastu Vyavahita pritana mukham niriksha Svajanavadat vimukasya dosha buddhya Mati maharadat mavidyayayas charanarati paramasya Yamestu Pratignyam Kartumavapluto Svanigamapahaya Pratignyam Kritamadikartumavapluto Radhasta Charano Bhayachaladyu Haririvahantu Vibhangato Tariya
Chitarishikato Vishwimyagamsa Shatajapari Pluto Atata Vinome
Sita Visikahato Vishirnadamsha Shatajapari Pluta Atata Vinome
Rasavama Visasara Madhvartartham Sabhavatu me Bhagavan Gate Mukunda
Prasabhamadisasar Madhvadartam Sabhavatu me Bhagavan Gate Mukunda
Vijayarata Kutum Atatotre Dhritaya Rashminita Shriye Shaniye
Vijayarata Kutumba Tatotre Dhritaya Rasminita Shriye Shaniye रतिरतिरस्तु मे मुमूर्षोत् यमिह निरीक्षता गता स्वरूपम् विलासवल्लुहासा प्रणय निरीक्षण कल्पितो द्रुमाना कृतमनुकृतवत्या उन्मादान्ता प्रकृतिमगं किल यस्य गो भवद्वा भीष्म स्तुति की जय, श्री भीष्म पितामह की जय। Okay, we'll start with Mangalacharana prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Ajnanaतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते. तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. Hare Krishna, Amritananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Amritananda Prabhu, can you hear me? Yeah, he said he went to Takwila, he's on the way, he's coming. Okay, so let's get started. We'll continue with the rest of the shlokas from Bhīṣma Stuti. So in the afternoon, I met with a person in the temple. His name is Shloka. Nice name. Usually girls have that name, but yeah, this person has a beautiful name, Shloka. And Krishna has a name, Uttama Shloka. So what does it mean?
Worth of praying some good slokas. Great.
One who can be glorified with the best of the best.
Yeah, one who can be glorified with the choicest poetry. Okay. So there is a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam that glorifies Bhagavatam itself. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam tadeva shashvat manasa mahotsavam tadeva shoka tadeva shashvat manasa mahotsavam tadeva shokam. Now if I say in the tune, then it will go. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam tadeva shashvat manasa mahotsavam tadeva shokar navashoshanam runam yaduttama shloka yashonugiyate. Yaduttama shloka yashonugiyate. So wherever the glories of Uttama shloka are sung, there is a festival. Manasa mahotsavam. There is a festival in the mind. And it's Tadeva Ramyam. Ramya means it's attractive. Ruchiram. It is very tasteful. We all know the shloka, Nigama Kalpatarur. Srimad Bhagavatam is like a ripened mango, which can be tasted from any angle and it's very sweet. Ruchiram. Tadeva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam. So Bhagavatam, the same story which happened 5,000 years ago, same Krishna Leela, Krishna stealing the same butter 5,000 years ago, even now it looks very fresh. Navam Navam. Tadeva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam. Tadeva Shashvat. And this knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam is eternal, Shashvat. Tadeva Shashvat Manasa Mahotsavam. It's a festival for the mind. And Tadeva Shokam Tadeva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam Tadeva Shashvat Manasa Mahotsavam Tadeva Shokam what is that? So basically that line says that it extinguishes the miseries of this material world, the Bhava Sagara, miseries of the material world. And the last line, Yaduttama Shloka Yashonugiyate. Okay. And when we hear Bhagavatam, Krishna actually comes and sits in our heart. So Krishna makes a lotus flower in our heart and sits in that lotus flower. But right now Krishna cannot come and sit in our heart because our heart is very dirty. So the process of hearing Bhagavatam itself will purify the heart. Shrunvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hrudayantasta Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhrid Satam. Vidunoti. Dunoti means to wash. Vidunoti means Vishesha Rupena Duneti. Washing very, very hard. Okay? So the same process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha, will cleanse our heart, and then finally when the heart is cleansed, Krishna will come and sit in our heart in the lotus flower. Again, there's a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam that says how Krishna enters our heart through our ears, through this process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrid saroje Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrid saroje Aseshu tekshana pato nanunata pumsa Yadhyadhyata urugaya vibhavayanti Tat vapu pranayase tadanugrahaya. So Krishna enters into our heart in that form that we worship or that we meditate upon. When we are listening to Krishna Katha, different people are attracted to different forms of Krishna. For example, Markandeya Muni, he was attracted to the Bala Mukunda form. Krishna sitting on a banyan tree leaf and sucking his toenail actually. So somebody may be attracted to Damodara form of Krishna, somebody may be attracted to Shyamasundara form of Krishna. So whatever form that one meditates while listening to Krishna Katha, in that form, Krishna enters the heart. Yadyad diyata urugaya vibhavayanti tadhat vapu pranayase tadanugrahaya. Okay. And what is this path? Ase shutekshana pato. This is disconnected.
Could be a wand. That's just a stick. Maybe Honey went looking for a stick to chew on.
Oh, so we should look for a stick now?
You're not sharing this.
So yeah, so the path that is mentioned is Shrutekshana Pato. That means you see through your ears. Shrutekshana Pato. Shruti plus Ikshana. You see through the ears. When you hear Krishna Katha, that is the path Krishna takes. Shrutekshana Pato. Nanunata Pumsa. Okay. So with that small glorification of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we'll get into the shlokas of Bhīṣma Stuti. So last week we discussed 3 shlokas. We'll try to complete the remaining 8 today. Okay. So we completed 32, 33 and 34. These are the shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 9. So we need to start from 35, but I'm going to jump into another shloka, 38, and I'll tell you the reason why I do that. It's 39. So Bhishma Dev, in these 11 shlokas of Bhishma Stuti, what he is expressing is whatever he has seen at the time of death, in the last minute before he leaves his body, whatever he has seen, he is describing, and he is describing that in a very random order, not in the chronological order, but in a very random order. So we'll discuss, what could be the reasons for that. But for us to get a feel of, a flow, a sequential flow, we'll start with this shloka here, 39. Vijaya Rata Kutumba Attatotre Dritahaya Rasminita Shriye Kshaniye.
Vijayarata Kutumba Attatotre Dritahaya Rasminita Shriye Kshaniye.
Bhagavati Ratirastu me mumurshor Yamiha Nirikshahata Gata Swarupam.
Bhagavati Ratirastu me mumurshor
Yamiha Nirikshahata Gata Swarupam. Okay, Shiva, you want to read the translation? Take that mic. For the online people, the voice will be visible only through the mic.
At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridal robe in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death.
Okay. So when we look at this form of Krishna, the Parthasarathi form, so what and all brings to our mind? There are many different things that we get reminded of. So what are the different things that we get reminded of? Okay. Yeah, very good.
For a devotee, he can even become a chariot driver, take a mini.
Yeah, that's an aspect of Bhaktavatsala. Yeah.
So he becomes controlled by the devotee who has love for Krishna.
Yeah. So that's again aspect of Bhaktavatsaliya. Okay. We also get reminded of that famous South Indian Brahmana story. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met with the South Indian Brahmana. And we also get reminded of the chariot of life example from one of the Puranas, Mundaka Purana or Mundaka Upanishad, or I think Mundaka Upanishad. Yeah, the chariot of life.
Using the analogy of the senses to the soul.
Yeah, the soul, body, senses, mind, intelligence, everything. The chariot of life analogy. Yeah. So like that, there are many different things that we get reminded of. And so today, when I went to the temple, I luckily found this frame here in the temple. So last couple of days I have been thinking, okay, maybe I should get a picture of Krishna and Bhīṣma Dev fighting on the battlefield. But then luckily when I went to the temple, I found this in the storage room. Usually I don't find it here. I think it's from one of the festivals. Luckily I found it here. Yeah. So then I moved Radha Krishna there, and then just wanted to make Bhīṣma Dev welcoming here. Okay. So as Ramakund Prabhu mentioned, right? Whenever we see this picture, we relish the Bhakta Vatsalyata of Krishna. Okay. So Krishna acted as a chariot driver. Who is this Krishna? He is the supreme creator, supreme proprietor, supreme controller, supreme maintainer, supreme enjoyer. That Krishna acting as a chariot driver for Arjuna, for his devotee. So not only as a Radha-Sarathi, but Krishna performed various menial services in the battlefield. So there is a shloka in Srimad Bhāgavatam, Saradhya Parshada Sevana Saukya Dhautya Virasananugamana Stavana Pranama Snigdheshu Pandushu Jagat Pranatim Cha Vishnu Bhaktim Karoti Nrupatis Charanara Vinde. So Parikshit Maharaj says, what are the different services that Krishna performed? Saradhya, he acted as a Parthasarathi. Parshada. So actually Parikshit Maharaj is referring to Krishna accepting position for Agra Puja in Rajasuya Yajna. Okay, so Parshada can have two meanings. One meaning that we generally know is one who follows. But Parshada also has a meaning that one who accepts followers. Okay, so he accepted Agra Puja in Rajasuya Yajna. Saradhya Parshada Sevana. Krishna used to fetch water for Pandavas on the battlefield. He used to fetch water for them. Saradhya Parshada Sevana. Saukya, he acted as a friend to Arjuna. Dautya, he acted as a peace messenger between Kauravas and Pandavas. Virasana Anugamana. Virasana means like a night watchman. If you go to one of the ATMs, especially in India, there'll be a security guard with a gun standing there. Just like that, Krishna used to stand outside the camp of Pandavas. While Pandavas are resting in the night, Krishna used to stand outside with his sword drawn out, Virasana. And Anugama, he used to take instructions from Arjuna when Krishna was riding the chariot, and then Arjuna wanted to move the chariot towards left. What was Arjuna doing? Arjuna was kicking on the left shoulder of Krishna. And if Arjuna wanted the chariot to move towards right, Arjuna would kick on the right shoulder of Krishna. Okay? Saradhya Parshada Saukya Dautya Virasana Anugamana Stavana Pranama. Stavana. He used to offer prayers to Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj. And he used to even offer obeisances to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Stavana Pranama, offering prayers. Snigdeshu Pandushu Jagat Pranatim Cha Vishnu. So who is this personality performing all these services? Jagat Pranatim Cha Vishnu. The whole world worships him as Vishnu. And that person is performing all these menial services. So that shows the Bhakta Vatsalyata aspect of Krishna. There are two classifications. when Krishna is showing love towards his devotees, there are two categories, Bhakta Vatsalyata and Bhakta Vashyata. And again, there are sub-flavors. So, there is Bhritya Vashyata, there is Bhakti Baddham, there is Bhaktair Jitatvam, and then finally there is Bhakta Paradina. Krishna says in Bhagavatam, Aham Bhakta Paradina. So, Bhakta Vatsalyata, in Bhakta Vatsalyata, if you look at Krishna's love into two categories, Bhakta Vatsalyata, Krishna is in an upper position and the devotees are in lower position. Okay? Krishna can be as a parent, or he can be an elder friend, and so on. And the devotee is in a lower position. Whereas in Bhakta Vashyata, devotee is in a higher position and Krishna is in lower position. Krishna is subordinate. Krishna is controlled by the love of devotees. So again, in the Bhakta Vashyata category, there are sub-flavors. Bhritya Vashyata, one who is controlled by his servants. Bhakta Vashyata means one who is controlled by the devotees. And Bhaktair Jitatvam, one who is conquered by the devotees. Bhakti Baddham, one who is bound by the love of devotees. And Bhakta Paradina, Krishna is completely dependent on the love of devotees. Completely dependent on the love of devotees means his whole sustenance, his mere sustenance, the life and soul is questionable without devotees. His life and soul are devotees, and without devotees, his mere sustenance is in question. Aham Bhakta Paradina. Okay? So Bhīṣma Dev is remembering all of these aspects when he looks at the Parthasarathi form of Krishna. And whatever different flavors of Parthasarathi form that Bhīṣma Dev sees on the battlefield, and he meditates upon those. Among those different actions or activities of Parthasarathi on the battlefield, two most favorable forms or two most favorable activities to Bhīṣma Dev are, one is this one, as Parthasarathi, just riding the chariot for Arjuna, and then the fighting scene where Krishna marches towards Bhīṣma Dev with the chariot wheel. These are the most favorable things to Bhīṣma Dev. So when I went to Houston Temple, actually, in January, when I went to Houston Temple, there is Bhīṣma Dev and Krishna on the altar. I have a picture. Let me show you that. Yeah, this is the one. So I was pleasantly surprised to see this. Very beautiful. Okay, and when Bhīṣma Dev was looking at this form, Parthasarathi form on the battlefield, he was relishing this form more than Arjuna, because Arjuna is behind, and Bhīṣma Dev was looking at this form directly. So he was relishing more than Arjuna was doing this. Okay, so with that we will come to today's shloka 35. So now, after Krishna started acting as a chariot driver for Arjuna, so what happened on the battlefield, the different sequences Bhīṣma Dev was recollecting. Sapadi Saki Vacho Nishamya Madhye Nija Parayor Balayoratam Niveshya.
Sapadi Saki Vacho Nishamya Madhye निज परयोर्बलयोरतं निवेश्य
स्थितवती परसैनिकायुराक्ष्णा ऋतवती पार्थ सखेरतेर्ममास्तु
स्थितवती परसैनिकायुराक्ष्णा ऋतवती पार्थ सखेरति ममास्तु.
Okay, Ramakundra, you want to read the translation?
In obedience to the command of his friend, Lord Sri Krishna entered the arena of the battlefield of Kurukshetra between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana. And while there, he shortened the lifespans of the opposite party by his merciful glance. This was done simply by his looking at the enemy. Let my mind be fixed upon that Krishna.
Okay, so we all know what happened. Okay, let me actually show the word for word meaning, and then we can go into some discussion. So Sapadi on the battlefield, Sakhi Vacha, command of the friend Arjuna, Nishamya after hearing, Madhye in the midst, Nija his own, Parayo and the opposite party, Balayo strength, Ratam chariot, Niveshya having entered, Stitavati while staying there, Parasainika of the soldiers on the opposite side, Ayu duration of life, Akshna by looking over, Kritavati act of diminishing, Partha, O Arjuna, son of Pritha, Sakhe, onto the friend, Rati, intimate relation, Mama, my, Astu, let there be. So here, Bhishma Dev is remembering that episode where Arjuna asked Krishna to place chariot in the middle of both armies. Senayor Ubayor Madhye Radam Stapaya Mechuta Yavadeha Niriksheham Yodhukaman Avastita Karmaya Saha Yodhavyam Asmin Ranasamudhyame Yotsyavan Aveksheham Yayetetra Samagataha Dhartarashtrasya Durbuddher Yuddhe Priyachikirshavaha. And then when Arjuna asked, Krishna places the chariot in the middle of both armies, and then he says, Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarvesham cha Mahikshita Uvacha Partha Pashyaitam Samavetan Kuruniti. Behold, O Partha, all the Kurus have assembled here. So he was cautioning Arjuna. Arjuna was, with great enthusiasm and with a, great fighting spirit to see who and all have come there to fight. But as soon as Krishna places the chariot there, he was cautioning Arjuna, okay, indicating what's going to happen next. So here in this shloka, it is mentioned that Krishna, while showing Kauravas to Arjuna, and then Krishna was actually glancing over all the Kauravas, and he reduced their lifespan. Hritavati means shortening or reducing. Okay, in other words, simply taking their life. Okay. Stitavati parasainikayur akshna. Akshna means simply by looking at the Kauravas. Hritavati, reduced. Reduced what? Ayu. Where is Ayu here? Ayu. Sainikayur. Stitavati parasainikayur akshna. Krishna Ayur. Lifespan. Yeah. So the killing of the Kauravas happened in two steps, right? One is when Krishna simply glanced over the Kauravas, their lives are gone. That's why Krishna says in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, to encourage Arjuna to fight, he says, Tasmat Tvamuttishta Yasho Labasva Jitva Shatrum Bhung Swarajyam Samrudvam Mayai Vaite Nihata Purvameva Nimitta Matram Bhavasavya Sachi.
He said, I already killed all these people.
I have already killed them by my previous arrangement. Mayaivaite nihata purvameva. Hata means to kill. Purvam, by prior arrangement. By my prior arrangement, I have already killed them. Leg pain? Kulshekar Alvar says in Mukundamala Stuti. Idam shariram shatasanti jarjaram patatyavasyam parinama peshanam himaushadam pranchasi mooda dharmate Krishna rasayanam piba. Okay? This body is a network of thousands of joints and it is subject to deterioration and death. Okay, so that is at one level when Krishna simply glanced over all the Kauravas, he killed them, and then when Arjuna actually fought, that is second level of killing. So it's like when you have a building and then there is a facade in the front. So what is the purpose of the facade? The purpose of facade is to cover the the reality, okay, to cover the reality. So if the building, the main building structure is not so appealing, if it is just a square shape or rectangle shape, you build some facade in the front to make it more attractive. So what Arjuna has done is just like that facade, and the reality is Krishna taking life of Kauravas simply by glancing over them. Okay. So, but what happened to all those soldiers? Krishna has taken life of them. What happened to them? They all got liberated. Tathaiva chanye naraloka veera yahave Krishna mukaravindam netrai pibantyo nayanabhiramam partastra putam vadamapurasya. So another shloka from Bhagavatam where it is mentioned Tadaiva chanye naraloka veera, all the soldiers on the Kaurava side, Yahave Krishna mukaravindam. So they were so fortunate to see the beautiful form of Krishna. Netrai pibantyo nayanabhiramam. So it was a nectar to their eyes while they were looking at the beautiful form of Krishna. And Parthastra putam padamapurasya. Partha astra putam. That means they were purified. Putam means purified. Putana, we know the name Putana, right? So Parthastra putam, all the Kauravas were purified by the arrows of Arjuna. Parthastra putam padamapurasya, and then they attained Paramapadam. So Parthastra putam padamapurasya, that's like a facade. But the reality is Krishna looking at the Kauravas taking their life, that made them eligible to attain Paramapadam. But Krishna wanted to give credit to his devotees. So Parthastra putam padamapurasya. Okay. Next, 36. Vyavahita pritana mukam nirikshya swajhanavadat vimukasya dosha buddhya.
Vyavahita pratana mukam nirikshya swajhanavadat vimukasya dosha buddhya.
Kumati maharadatma vidyayayas charanarati paramasyata syamestu.
Kumati maharadatma vidyayayas charanarati paramasyata syamestu.
Okay, you want to read through?
When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction.
Yeah. Okay, we'll look at the word for word meaning and then some discussion. Vyavahita, standing at a distance. Pratana, soldiers. Mukam, faces. Niriksha, by looking upon. Swajana, kinsmen. Vadat, from the act of killing. Vimukasya, one who is reluctant. Dosha buddhya, by polluted intelligence. Kumatin, poor fund of knowledge. Aharat, eradicated. Atma Vidyaya, by transcendental knowledge. Ya, he who. Charana, to the feet. Rati, attraction. Paramasya, of the supreme. Tasya, for him. May, my. Astu, let there be. So the flow is Krishna started acting as chariot driver for Arjuna, and then Arjuna asked to place the chariot in the middle of both armies. Krishna placed the chariot in the middle of both armies and said, all the Kauravas are here, they are standing before you to fight against you. And then looking at all the soldiers, especially Bhishma and Drona, Arjuna, we all know what happened. Arjuna was overwhelmed with compassion. And he said, Drishtvevam swajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukam cha parishushati vepatuscha sharire me roma harshascha jayate gandivam sramsate hasta vachaiva paridahyate. And so on. Arjuna exhibits all the symptoms of his hair, his skin burning, hair standing on end, and his mouth drying up, all those symptoms. Okay, and he expresses his helplessness to fight. He was bewildered and says, I don't know what to do now. So in fact, he uses the same word, swajana. Here in this shloka, Bhishma Dev is saying, swajana vadat vimukasya dosha buddhya. There also in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1. So, Drishtvevam swajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukam cha parishushati. So when Arjuna expressed his inability to fight, then that's when Krishna started speaking Bhagavad Gita from 2.11 onwards. First he's chastised, saying that you have spoken like a learned pandit, but you're a fool. And then he says, you are a great Kshatriya. How have these impurities come upon you? Klaibhyam masmagama partha naitattvai upadyate shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. Get up and fight. And then Krishna started teaching Bhagavad Gita. So Bhishma Dev was remembering that episode. Okay. So Bhishma Dev was remembering Krishna as the enlightener of Arjuna, giving this Atma Vidya, not the Yuddha Vidya, but Atma Vidya. Okay, the next one. 37. Hare Krishna, bro. Please come.
All four of us.
You need a chair from?
Enough light.
Light.
You all have a uniform? You all have 2 uniforms. Oh, Mataji is also here. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Sorry.
So you all have to. Yeah, thank you. You just coming here itself is a blessing. Okay. So now let me glorify all of you. Okay. So you all have one uniform.
He's glorifying God.
Okay. So you're all like Tirtha Bhutas. Tirtha Bhutas. Your holy places personified. You're all carrying Sri Krishna in your heart. You're all, holy places personified. Especially very recently, you three came from a holy place. In Bhagavatam, uh, when Vidura returns from pilgrimage, Yudhishthira Maharaj receives him, and Vidura is so happy to see all the Pandavas, Kauravas, including Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, everybody. Then Yudhishthira receives Vidura saying these words: Bhagavad Vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantastena Gadabhrita. Swantastena Gadabhrita. You are all carrying Sri Krishna, Gadabhrita. Gadabhrita is the name of Krishna. You are all carrying Sri Krishna in your heart, and you are like holy places personified. So like that, I receive all of you. Happy, Prabhu?
See? You are extra lesson.
Who is carrying Lord's Prasadam in this tongue?
Extra percent.
Yeah.
Today's Friday.
Okay, so shloka number 37. Svanigama-pahaya mat-pratīඥam ritamadhikartumavapluto radhasta.
Svanigama-pahaya mat-pratīඥam ritamadhikartumavapluto radhasta.
Dhritarata-charano bhayachaladgur haririvahantu-mi bhangato tariya.
Dhritarata-charano bhayachaladgur haririvahantu-mi bhangato tariya.
Okay, Amtan Prabhu, you want to read the translation?
Fulfilling my vows and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way.
Okay, we look at the word for word meaning. Swanigamam, own truthfulness. Apahaya, for nullifying. Mat pratignyam, my own promise. Ritam, factual. Adhi, more. Kartum, for doing it. Avapluta, getting down. Ratasta, from the chariot. Drita, taking up. Rata, chariot. Charana, wheel. Abhyayat, went hurriedly. Chaladgu, trampling on the earth. Trampling the earth. Hari, lion. Iva, like. Hantum, to kill. Ibam, elephant. Gata, leaving aside. Uttariya, covering cloth. So here, this is the famous scene which is most relished by our Bhīṣma Pitamaha. So what is happening in this episode here, in this shloka here? So we all know the story, how Bhīṣma Dev has taken a vow to kill the Pandavas, and then Bhīṣma Dev takes a vow that either I will kill the Pandavas the next day morning with these 5 arrows, or I'll make Krishna break his vow of not lifting a weapon on the battlefield. Then the next day, Bhīṣma Dev is shooting arrows very ferociously towards Arjuna, and Arjuna was almost on the verge of death. Any time Arjuna could be killed. So sensing the sensitivity or intensity of the situation, Krishna took up the wheel of the chariot and marched like a lion marching towards an elephant. He marched towards Bhīṣma Dev. And while doing so, he left his Uttariyam. And there is a significance while Krishna left his Uttariyam back on the way. Krishna wanted to show the Kaustuba and Srivatsa on his chest to Bhīṣma Dev. Because Bhīṣma Dev worships Narayana or Vishnu form of Krishna. So Kaustuba and Srivatsa are two most important marks in that form, in that Aishwarya form. So by removing the Uttariya or by letting the Uttariya drop on the way, Krishna wanted to show that complete form to Bhīṣma Dev. So he was relishing that very much. Now here there are very interesting things. So if you look at the picture here, right? Krishna was marching towards Bhīṣma Dev like a lion marching to elephant, and Arjuna was trying to pull him back. But despite that, Krishna marches towards Bhīṣma Dev. Now to Arjuna or to external people, they do not know what's happening between Krishna and Bhīṣma Dev. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he writes saying that Bhīṣma Dev and Krishna are like two lovers on the battlefield. Now between two lovers, there can be so much of communication without using any words. Simply by the glances, many things can be communicated. So just like that, Krishna and Bhīṣma Dev, they were doing their part. They were acting in this Leela, just like how two lovers act without speaking any words. Now what is happening may apparently or externally may seem to be unfavorable to Arjuna or to us. That's why Arjuna is pulling Krishna back. That he's about to kill Bhīṣma Dev, he's pulling back. Now we all know from Rupa Goswami's instruction, Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Varjana. So accept what is favorable for Krishna's service and reject what is unfavorable to Krishna's service. But here, in case of Bhīṣma Dev, what is unfavorable apparently, externally, what may seem to be unfavorable is favorable. What is Pratikula has become Anukula. And for Arjuna, what is Anukula has become Pratikula. Okay, Krishna marching towards Bhīṣma Dev and trying to kill him. That is actually the reality is it is Anukulyata. Because Krishna wanted to fulfill Bhīṣma Dev's vow. Even by breaking his own vow of not lifting any weapon on the battlefield, Krishna wanted to fulfill Bhīṣma Dev's vow. So whatever Krishna is doing, that is Anukulyata. But Arjuna was perceiving that, or some external person who does not understand this Leela, they may look at it as Pratikulyata, unfavorable to Krishna's service. And Krishna, he has broken his vow. We all know when demigods pray to Krishna in 10th canto, they glorify him with an adjective, Satyavratam. Satyavratam means one who has taken a vow of not breaking his vow. Okay, one who has taken a vow of not breaking his vow. Satyavratam, or one who has taken a vow of speaking truth always. Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyasya Yonim Nihitam cha Satyam Satyasya Satyam Ritasatya Netram Satyasya Atmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapanna. This is the prayer of demigods to Sri Krishna. Every line of this shloka, their demigods are glorifying Krishna with this adjective, Satyam. So that Krishna, who is Satyavrata, now what is he doing? He has broken his vow. But actually, did he break his vow? Yes or no? Or both? Yes.
He did.
He did.
Externally, yes. I mean, Arjuna prevented him, but otherwise he was intent to break his promise. He intended to break his promise
Yeah.
to protect his Arjuna here.
Mhm.
And also, no, to protect Arjuna also, and to fulfill Bhishma's desire. Both.
Yeah.
That's what Lord's thing. Whenever he does, he will fulfill multiple things.
Yeah. Okay. So that is one commentary that we generally know, right? One Acharya comments saying that the wheel, chariot wheel especially, is not considered as a weapon. So that way, Krishna actually has not lifted a weapon. You know, if he wants to kill somebody, he can just kill by simply glancing over that person. So Krishna lifting the chariot wheel is for a different purpose. So, and by the way, the wheel itself is not considered as a destructing weapon. It's not like a sword or gun or something like that. So that way, Krishna has not broken his vow. He is Satyavrata. That is one Acharya's commentary. So, whatever it is, one important aspect that we can learn from this is Krishna is exhibiting his Bhakta Vashyata aspect. We discussed, Bhakta Vatsalyata, Bhritya Vashyata, Bhakta Vashyata, Bhaktairjitatvam, Bhakti Baddham, and Bhakta Paradina. So, Bhakta Vashyata, when Krishna comes in the control of his devotees, he is controlled by the love of his devotees. That's why Krishna, forgetting his own vow, he is making Bhishma Dev's vow true. Bhakta Vashyata. And we know from Damodarashtakam also how Krishna let Mother Yashoda bind him. In fact, there are three aspects of this Bhakta Vashyata are exhibited there. Bhakta Vashyata, when Krishna was running away from Yashodama, after some time, looking at Yashoda Mata's helplessness, Krishna only slowed down, and then Yashoda Mata held Krishna from the back. Param Rishtvam Atyanta Todritya Gopya. Param Rishtam means that Param back. Rishtam means back. Param Rishtam means that the back of Krishna basically. Param Rishtam means how can I say that superior back. Okay? Superior back. Our back doesn't have any significance. Okay? Param Rishtam means that superior back. The supreme back. That's the correct word. The supreme back. So Yashoda Mata held Krishna by that supreme back. Param Rishtam Atyanta Todritya Gopya. So that is Bhakta Vashyata. And then Bhaktair Jitatvam. Bhaktair Jitatvam, Krishna is conquered by the love of devotees. And Bhakti Baddham, Krishna is bound by the love of devotees. When Mother Yashoda was able to bind Krishna, that's only because Krishna is conquered by the love of devotees. That's why he shows Bhakti Baddham. He is bound by the love of devotees. So here we can see this aspect of Krishna, Bhakta Vashyata, controlled by the devotees. And then there is another aspect, Bhakta Paradina. Aham Bhakta Paradino hi. What is the shloka? Aham Bhakta Paradino hi. Does anyone know?
Like surrender to the
Yeah, where Krishna says, I am subordinate to the love of my devotees. I'm independent. I'm not independent. Aham bhakta paradino hi. What is the word for independent?
Oh, this is ninth character. Aham bhakta paradino hi asvantara
Asvatantra. Asvatantra iva dvija sadhubir grasta hridaya bhaktair bhakta janapriya. Bhaktair bhakta janapriya. I'm not only controlled, no, I'm not only controlled by the devotees, but the devotees of my devotees. Bhaktair bhakta janapriya. Bhaktair bhakta janapriya. Yeah, this picture I just showed before Hamtanda Prabhu, before you all came. When I went to Houston Temple, I saw this beautiful, carving of Bhishma Dev and Krishna on the altar. Okay, next one, 38. Sita Vishikahato Vishirnadamsha Kshatajha Paripluta Atata Ino Me.
Sita Vishikahato Vishirnadamsha Kshatajha Paripluta Atata Ino Me.
प्रसभाभिससार मद्वदार्थं सभवतु मे भगवान् गतेर्मुकुन्दा.
प्रसभाभिससार मद्वदार्थं सभवतु मे भगवान् गतेर्मुकुन्दा.
You want to read, bro?
May he, Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me, as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered, and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds.
Okay. We'll read the word for word translation. Shita, sharp. Vishika, arrows. Hata, wounded by. Vishirna damsha, scattered shield. Kshataja, by wounds. Paripluta, smeared with blood. Atataina, the great aggressor. Me, my. Prasabham, in an angry mood. Abhisasara, began to move on. Madvadhartum, for the purpose of killing me. Sa, he. Bhavatu, may become. Me, my. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Gati, destination. Mukunda, who awards salvation. So here Bhishma Dev is remembering that aspect of Krishna, by whose glance he awarded liberation to the Kauravas. And also he is remembering that aspect of Krishna where he made two devotees happy. One is he made Bhishma Dev happy by because Bhishma Dev has taken a vow that he would break Krishna's vow. Okay, so he made Bhishma Dev happy, and also he protected Arjuna. So he made two devotees happy here. And then he even granted liberation to all the soldiers on the battlefield. So here Bhishma Dev is saying that on the battlefield he charged me as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. Now we all know Krishna's body is Sachidananda Rupam. When Krishna appears in the material world, he appears in his original transcendental form. So there's no difference between Krishna and his form. So then how can blood can come out from his body, or how can Bhishma Dev pierce arrows into Krishna's body. So Jiva Goswami comments saying that Bhishma Dev, he was describing this Leela in the mood of Mayaika Leela Varnanam. Mayaika Leela Varnanam. So he was in kind of illusion and saying that I have shot arrows towards Krishna and the arrows pierced Krishna's body. So, but Jiva Goswami says that it is a Mayaika Leela Varnanam. The Padma Purana says that Krishna's body cannot be pierced. There are so many adjectives that are described. One of the adjectives is Krishna's body cannot be pierced. So when Bhishma Dev is describing like this here, he was put into some kind of illusion, and then he came to his senses and realized. If you look at Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada actually says that Bhishma Dev was relishing this form of Krishna, blood coming out of his body, and then arrows piercing Krishna's body. Okay, so even if that is the mode Bhishma Dev was relishing this form of Krishna, so be it. That is what brings attraction and attachment to Bhishma Dev, so be it. Yeah. And Bhishma Dev uses the word Mukunda here, one who gives liberation, mukti. So this we discussed before you all came. Because sequentially, this shloka, Krishna's Parthasarathi Rupam, Krishna starts driving the chariot, that comes in the first in the sequence. That's why we discussed this first and then start at 35. Okay, so we're going to skip this. Next. So after remembering all the scenes that happened on the battlefield, now finally, when Bhishma Dev was about to leave his body, he wanted to take blessings of gopis. So he started remembering the pastimes of gopis with Krishna. Lalita Gati Vilasa Valgubhasa Pranaya Nirikshana Kalpito Rumana. Lalita Gati Vilasa Valgubhasa Pranaya Nirikshana Kalpito Rumana. Krutamanu Krutavatya Unmadandha Prakriti Magham Kilayasya Gopavadva. Prakriti Magham Kilayasya Gopavadva. So maybe one of you can read the translation. He read the first one.
Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Shri Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Rajdhana, the gopis. The damsels initiated the characteristic movements. Characteristic movements of the Lord after his disappearance from the rasa dance.
Okay. So Bhishma Dev, so what is Lalita here? Lalita Devi, right?
Lalita Gati.
Lalita Gati. Yeah. Lalita means like gracious. Gracious. Gati is the walk, movement. Lalita Gati. Okay, see what a beautiful composition. Huh? Lalita, he brought Lalita Devi's name here and describing Krishna's movement. Lalita Gati. Lalita Ghati. Let's look at the word for word meaning. Lalita, attractive or gracious. Gati, movements. Vilasa, fascinating acts. Valguhasa, sweet smiling. Pranaya, loving. Nirikshana, looking upon. Kalpita, mentality. Unmadha, highly glorified. Kritam anukrutavya, in the act of copying the movements. Unmadhanda, gone mad in ecstasy. Prakritim, characteristics. Agan, underwent. Kila, certainly. Yasya, whose? Gopa Vadva, the cowherd damsels. So, Bhishma Dev just briefly remembered this pastime of gopis with Krishna. But he says, I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to further glorify Gopi Bhav because my attraction is somewhere else. I'm not even qualified to glorify the Gopi Bhav. And then he continues with the remembrance of other episodes. So here we all know about the love of gopis for Krishna, which is the highest form of love, the Madhurya Bhava, or Shrungara Rasa, as we discussed last week. So last week we discussed about Smarana, right? When gopis were trying to sell milk and milk products in Vrindavan, there's a nice shloka in Govinda Damodara Stotra where Bilumangal Thakur has written how gopis were trying to sell milk and milk products, but instead of saying milk and other milk products, they took the names of Krishna. Vikretu kama kilaloka kanya murari padarpita chitta vritti Dadhyadikam mohavashodavocha Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So here the gopis, with a intention of vikretu kama, with an intention of selling milk and milk products, they started saying Govinda Lelo, Damodar Lelo, Madhava Lelo. So we can learn, an aspect of Smarana there, how we can think of Krishna all the time, 24/7. So maybe if we just sing Govinda Damodara Stotram every day, that will help us meditate on Krishna. So there are beautiful slokas. It's a very lengthy, I don't know, 100 slokas are there, I think. Yeah. But Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, so he sings only about 40-50 slokas, which are, if we can focus on that itself is a great thing. And earlier we were talking about Bhaktair Jitatvam aspect. Okay, being conquered by the love of devotees. Okay, Krishna getting conquered by the love of devotees. We all know another pastime of gopis with Krishna, when the young damsels of Vrindavan, how they were teasing Krishna. So once they when Krishna came to these young damsels, Krishna asked for buttermilk, a cup of buttermilk. And then the gopi said, yes, we'll give buttermilk, but you have to dance. Okay? And the number of times that you dance, we'll put a mark on your face. And how many number of times you dance, that many number of cups of buttermilk we'll give you. So Krishna started dancing. And for every dance movement or for every small episode of dance, they put one dot on his face. And then Krishna started dancing continuously, very graciously. Yeah? And then the gopis started putting unlimited number of dots on his face. And then they were worried. They don't have so much of buttermilk to give to Krishna. And then to avoid from giving buttermilk, they said, oh look, your mother Yashoda is coming. And then in fear of Mother Yashoda, Krishna wipes off his face. All the marks on his face, he wipes off. And then he looks at the side where Gopis pointed out, and there is no Mother Yashoda. And then he asked, what is this? You said there is Mother Yashoda coming and there is no mother. And then they said, yeah, we tricked you. And then Krishna said, no, I still want buttermilk. And then they said, okay, let's dance again. We'll give you buttermilk again. And then Krishna started dancing again. And then they started putting dots. And then this Leela continued for some time. So, how many of you knew this Leela? So, looking at this Leela, there is a famous Muslim poet, Raskan. Raskan, he glorified this Leela, how Krishna was conquered, Bhaktair Jitatvam, how Krishna was conquered by the love of devotees, love of gopis. He wrote a poem in Vrajabhasha actually. Sheshu Ganeshu Dineshu Sureshu Jahi Nirantar Gave Jahi Anadi Ananta Akanda Acheda Suveda Batave Narad se Sukha Vyasurate Pachihare tu Puri Parana Pave Tahi Ahari ki Chohariya Chachiya Bar Chach pe Nach Nachai. Chach means buttermilk. Hindi as well as in Brajavasha also, Chach means buttermilk. So, what is Raskan saying here? Sheshu Ganeshu Dineshu Maheshu Sureshu Jahi Nirantar Gave. All the great personalities like Shesha, Ananta Shesha, Ganesha, Dinesha. Who is Dinesha? Surya. Mahesha, Lord Shiva. Shesha, Ganesha, Dinesha, Mahesha, Suresha. Who is Suresha? Indra. Jahi Nirantar Gave. All these great personalities, they are constantly singing His glories. Next line. Narada se sukha vyasurate pachihare tu puri paruna pave. Narada, Sukadeva Goswami, all these great sages, they also chanted His name. Narada se sukha vyasarate. Rate means chanting. Narada se sukha vyasarate pachihare tu puri paruna pave. But still, they could not obtain him. And the next line, Tahi ahari ki chohariya chachiyabar chachape nache nachave. Whereas, these young damsels of Vrindavan, they made Krishna dance just for 1 cup of buttermilk. So, this is Bhaktair Jitatvam. One aspect of Krishna's Bhakta Vatsalyata. Okay. So he was remembering, Bhishmadev was remembering the love of gopis just to take blessings of gopis. Because he said, I'm not qualified to glorify gopis anymore and my attraction is somewhere else, but I want to take the blessings of gopis. Okay, the last but one. 41. Munigana Rupavarya Sankulenta Sadasi Yudhishthira Rajasuya Esha.
Munigana Rupavarya Sankulenta Sadasi Yudhishthira Rajasuya Esha.
Arhanamupapeda ikshaniyo mama drishi gochara esha viratma.
Arhanamupapeda ikshaniyo mama drishi gochara esha viratma.
Okay, you want to read the translation?
At the Rajasuya Yajna sacrifice performed by Maharaja Yudhishthira, there was the greatest assembly of all the light men of the world, the royal and learned orders, and in that great assembly, Lord Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence, and I remember the incident in order to keep my mind upon it.
Okay. So when I read the purport, this is the translation, but when I read the purport, I was a little confused. The Prabhupada writes, you're reading that now?
No, I know this.
Oh, you read that before?
Yeah, we studied it. The confusion of the largest leader.
Yeah.
Ashwamedha.
Yeah. So Prabhupada writes saying that after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Yudhishthira Maharaj performed Rajasuya Yajna. So I don't know if it was a print mistake or what is that, Prabhu?
Yeah, I asked a couple of devotees and I didn't get a concrete answer. Looks like there is some kind of printing mistake or.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but this happened. Lord Krishna was worshipped in that Rajasuya Yajna before.
Yeah, before.
Before, yeah.
Yeah.
But Prabhupada writes the purport. Yudhishthira Maharaj performed Rajasuya Yajna after the battlefield, after the battle of Kurukshetra.
Yeah, so that's where the confusion.
Yeah.
There could be like printing. So actually,
And in the old books also do.
yeah, I think you have to
Online
pose it
also
to
like
the
BBT.
Online also is like that.
Online is like that.
same.
Hari Parshad Guru, they didn't confirm why it was still not corrected or there's some other meaning.
Yeah, I think we'll bring it to the attention of Hari Parshad Prabhu and then BBT.
Sure.
I think we should get it corrected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing much to say about this episode here. Bhishma Dev was remembering Rajasuya Yajna where Krishna was given Agra Puja. Everybody was looking at Krishna's beautiful form, his royal, beautiful, form of Krishna. And in fact, many people thought that this is the best creation of Brahma. This is the best creation of Brahma. They were so amazed to see Krishna's Rupam. And Krishna does not reveal himself to the non-devotees, right? But so to those people, they were thinking that, oh, this is the best creation of Brahma. So yeah, Bhishma Dev was remembering this episode here. Okay, the last one. 42. Tamimam ahamajam sharira bhajam hridi hridi dishtitamatma kalpitanam.
शरीरभाजं हृदि हृदि दीक्षितमात्मकल्पितानाम्
प्रतिदृशमिव नैकाधार्कमेकं समधिगतोऽस्मि विधूतभेदमोहा.
प्रतिदृशमिवनैकदार्कमेकं समधिगतोऽस्मि विधूतभेदमोहा.
So online, does anyone want to read the translation? Aman and Sneha, Sarita. Okay. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Sri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to His presence in everyone's heart, even in the heart of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. Okay, we'll look at the word for word meaning. Tam, that personality of Godhead. Imam, now present before me. Aham, I. Ajam, the unborn. Sharira Bhajam, of the conditioned soul. Hridi, in the heart. Hridi, in the heart. Dishtitam, situated. Atma, the super soul. Kalpitanam, of the speculators. Pratidrisham, in every direction. Iva, like. Na ekada, not one. Arkam, the sun. Ekam, one only. Samadhi gatausmi. I have undergone trance in meditation. Vidhuta, being freed from Veda Moha, misconceptions of duality. So, after remembering various episodes, Bhishma Dev finally left his body by offering his mind, intelligence, and senses to Krishna. There are 11 shlokas. The 11 shlokas can be compared to the fact that Bhishma Dev offered all of his 11 senses to Krishna. The 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind. All the 11 senses. And in the very beginning he said, Iti matir upakalpita. Let me invest my mind upon you now. So he offered all his mind, intelligence, and senses to Krishna and then left his body. So such a glorious departure of Bhishma Dev, which happened right in front of Krishna. No, our goal is, our aspiration is just to remember Krishna at the time of death, or just to be able to utter his name. Forget about remembering any Leela of Krishna, any Rupam of Krishna, any Archa Vigraha form of Krishna. But our aspiration is at the lowest level just to be able to utter his name. But look at the fortune of Bhishma Dev, such a glorious departure. He left his body right in front of Krishna. And while everyone is seeing Krishna's two-handed form, Bhishma Dev was seeing Chaturbhuja form. And in all of his meditation, throughout all these 11 shlokas, what is his connection to Krishna? No, in these shlokas, if you observe these shlokas, what is his connection to Krishna? In all his prayers, what is he praying? He is praying, let me have rati to Krishna. Let me have attraction to that Parthasarathi. So what is the connection? Who is the agent between Bhishma Dev and Krishna?
Agent is Yudhishthira Maharaj.
No.
No, I mean basically he
It was in vision. Is the war?
The
war?
The war? No.
Then what? Means he's all in the Padasari, Mukunda is there.
wow.
And
What? No.
Vows. The vow.
and we are going wrong direction.
It has to be a devotee. See, our connection to Krishna has to be a devotee only. Arjuna. Yeah. In all the shlokas, Vijaya Sakhi Ratirastu me Anavadya. Okay. Let me go to these shlokas here. Vijaya Sakhe Ratirastu me Navadya. Partha Sakhe Ratir Mamastu. Charanarati Paramasya Tasya Mestu. Okay, there is no Arjuna's name here. In the previous shloka?
No. Not mentioned, but see the Vimoksha Dosha Buddhya, that is Arjuna.
Yeah. He's remembering Arjuna, but
because Arjuna is implied in this.
yeah, Vyavahita Pritana Mukam Niriksha Svajana Vadhat Vimukasya Dosha Buddhya Kumati Maharat Atma Vidyayayas. Yeah. So even without taking his name, implicitly there is Arjuna
Here also there.
directly. Yeah.
To protect Arjuna only he did that.
Yeah. So that's the focal point here. In all his meditations, the connection to Krishna is through great devotee Arjuna. Now, if you look at Kunti prayers also, Kunti Maharani also uses a similar connection. Arjuna. Sri Krishna Krishna Sakavrishni Rishabhavanagner Rajanyavamsha Dahanagnapavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Surarti Haravatara. Last line. Yogeshwara Kila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. So, there also, what is the name that Kunti Devi used? Krishna Saka. Who is Krishna Saka? How is Krishna Saka Arjuna?
Krishna's friend.
But it should be, she is referring to Krishna actually. By saying Krishna Saka, she is referring to Krishna. Sri Krishna Krishna Saka Vrishni Rishabhavani Druk. In this shloka, Kunti Maharani is glorifying Krishna with different names. Yogeshwara, Akhila Guru, Bhagavan, Govinda, Sri Krishna, Vrishni Rishabha, the chief of the Vrishni dynasty, Vrishni Rishabha, and similarly Krishna Saka. Krishna Saka is the name of Krishna.
So is it Krishna who is a Saka? Krishna who is a Saka?
No. Krishna Saka means Krishna, but he is a friend of Krishna.
One name of Arjuna is also Krishna.
One name of Arjuna is Krishna. Yes.
In that relationship, it is.
Yeah.
Also called Krishna.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why she's saying Krishna Saka. It's actually referring to Krishna only, who is a friend of Krishna, who is Arjuna. Now there is another shloka where Yudhishthira Maharaj, that we discussed last week, right? Yatra Dharma Suto Rajan Gadapani Vrikodara Krishnostri Gandivam Chapam some last line. But there also Krishnostri Gandivam Chapam. Krishna Astra of Arjuna, the weapon of Arjuna. Gandivam and Chapam. Gandivam the bow and Chapam is arrow. Krishnostri Gandivam Chapam. So how did Arjuna get the name Krishna? So when Arjuna was receiving Pashupati Astra from Lord Shiva, when Lord Shiva looked at Arjuna, Lord Shiva said, "Looking at you reminds me of Sri Krishna." And then he calls Arjuna as Krishna. Oh Krishna. He calls him as Krishna and says, "Looking at you reminds me of Krishna." And from then onwards, Arjuna got the name Krishna. So there also, Kunti Devi, it's such a beautiful thing, right? She's saying Krishna Saka, referring to Krishna only, but the connection is again Arjuna. Yeah. So the lesson that we can learn is, in our lives, all of us have one special devotee, one great devotee, one pure devotee, who is the connection to Krishna. So we just have to acknowledge that, we just have to become cognizant of that, and then take instructions from that devotee. So it can be our Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, or one of the devotees like you here. So the connection to Krishna is only devotee. So His Holiness Radhanasa Maharaj, in his lecture on glories of Bhīṣma Deva, okay, so he says, now this can be our practical lesson and takeaway point. Radhanasa Maharaj says, just like how Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was feeling great regret after the battle was over. He was feeling a great regret that because of him, millions of people died, and he did not want to take the throne. In fact, he wanted to commit suicide. That's what is written in Mahabharata. So, and then interestingly, there one sage, Charvaka Muni, he comes and he says, yes, go ahead and commit suicide. You'll be peaceful. So we all know about Charvaka Muni, right? We quote him in the device. Yeah. He's atheist. Yeah. Yeah.
Beg, borrow, or steal.
Beg, borrow, or steal. Yeah. 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 So there, everybody tried to console him, and finally Krishna takes Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas to Bhīṣma Dev. Bhīṣma Dev pacifies Yudhishthira Maharaj. Bhīṣma Dev first says, you do not, qualify, all the miseries that you have gone through. It is a very injustice to you. You don't deserve all these miseries, what you have gone through. It may be because of karma. And then again he says, no, there's no karma. For devotees like you, there's no karma. And then he says, maybe influence of time. And he says, no, for devotees, there's no influence of time. In fact, the influence of time is in a positive manner. And then finally he says, it is nothing but Krishna's plan. So Radhanath Maharaj, he says that just like how Bhīṣma Dev reconciled what exactly happened on the battlefield and pacified Yudhishthira Maharaj, we should be able to identify the invisible plan of Krishna. And that is faith. We should be able to identify the invisible plan of Krishna, and that is faith. And Radhaswami Maharaj again says how to develop the faith, which we all know by hearing, Shravana, by hearing Krishna Katha, by chanting Krishna's name, by hearing Krishna's name. So, by concentrated, attentive hearing of Krishna Katha and by meditating on Krishna Katha. Many times we just hear the classes, and then, after that we don't read anything at home. So it is mentioned, whenever we hear anything in the class, we only learn 25%. Other 25%, when we go home and read the book, we learn 25%. And then when we share with others, we learn another 25%. So that is 75%. And the last 25%, when we experience, life gives you some lessons. Life, teaches you some things. So through your experiences, you learn the last 25%. So there's a shloka, right, in Bhagavad Gita. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha mayarpita mano buddhir ma me vaishvasi asamshayah. So there is that word anusmarana. What is the meaning of the word anusmarana? Smarana, we all know. Remember. Okay, to remember the Lord. Anusmarana. Practice. Constant remembering. Yes. Remembering again and again. The word anu in Sanskrit means again and again. Okay. If you look at Veda base and click on that word anusmarana, it gives two meanings. One is what Dhammaprasad Prabhu said, constant or repeated remembering. Okay. Another meaning that Veda base gives is remembering and describing. Remembering and describing. So you remember one pastime of Krishna and then you discuss, you share with others. That is what Krishna said, Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam. When we do that, what happens? Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. Even if it is for 5 minutes, when we meet each other in the temple, just for example, the other day, Amritananda Prabhu, after the last episode, when we met in the temple, he was discussing with me But there is another shloka about Smarana, which we forgot, in the class. And he remembered me about that shloka. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu, vismartavyam na jatuchit, sarve vidhi nishedasyur, etayor eva kinkara. So always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. All the rules and regulations that are described in the Vedas, they are only subservient to the previous two principles. So like that, even if it is for 5 minutes, if we discuss with each other, then that will help to a great extent. And then the third meaning of Anusmarana, which is not mentioned in the Veda-wise. So third meaning of Anusmarana is following the footsteps of Acharyas, how to remember Krishna, how to cultivate this habit of Smarana. That is Anusmarana. Anu means to follow, like Ramanuja is the name of Lakshmana. Because Rama plus Anuja, he follows, Lakshmana follows Rama, that's why Ramanuja. Ramanuja also refers to Krishna. How?
Is Krishna came later than Rama?
No. In Mukundamala Stotra, Kulshekar Alvar uses this word, Balarama. When Krishna follows Balarama, he becomes Ramanuja. No, a follower. Yeah. So, Anusmarana means how to cultivate this habit of Smarana by following the footsteps of Acharyas. If you look at Bhīṣma Stuti, it is condensed prayer of devotion, the pinnacle of devotion. Bhīṣma Dev's rasa is Shanta with Dasya. In one sense, which is not the highest form of devotion. But still, Krishna regarded Bhīṣma Dev's devotion as the topmost. In the entire Mahabharata, after Krishna, it is Bhīṣma Dev who is the second prominent personality.
He is one of the Mahajans.
He is one of the Mahajans, one of the 12 Mahajans. So, in Ahobilam Math, there is a Pitadipati who recites Bhīṣma Stuti every single day. Every single day. It only takes 7 to 10 minutes maximum. 1 minute for each shloka, 11 minutes maybe. This is very melodious, very beautiful, condensed version of prayer, of devotion by Bhīṣma Dev. We all hear similar instruction from Bhakti Prajnan Keshava Swami Maharaj, right? Who is the sannyasi guru of Prabhupada. What is the instruction that we get from him? He says, recite Damodarashtakam every day. And he himself does that. He recites Damodarashtakam in the morning. This is his morning routine. He chants, 32, 64, we don't know. And then after that, he recites Vishnu Sahasranama, which takes half an hour. Half an hour for us, maybe 20 or 15 minutes for him. And then Damodarashtakam and few others like this. Every single day. And he gives instruction to everybody to recite Damodarashtakam every single day. And we see, in our not congregation, but Radhesham Prabhu, he recites Mukundamala Stotra every single day. Before or after Mangalarti, he recites Mukundamala Stotra every single day. If you have not read Mukundamala Stotra, I highly recommend this. Not just reading, memorize all the shlokas, meditate on these shlokas. So in Shikshashtakam, there is a word, right? How I relish every word. What is the Sanskrit word? Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya kairiva chandrika vitarnam vidya vadu jivanam anandam buddhi vardhanam purnamruta swadanam pratipadam. Yeah. If you chant, Aswadanam, Pratipadam, Aswadanam, Pratipadam. That shloka actually refers to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now, especially I don't have a taste for Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I cannot experience, the bliss or ananda in every word of Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
See, Haripashal Prabhu on that, how come Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadam, Hare Krishna Mona? Ha, Re, every word, he said everything is.
Every syllable, huh?
Yeah, Purnam.
Every syllable.
A series of lecture on that.
Oh, yeah, on first shloka itself, 22 classes.
Yeah, he said Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadam. How can he say Hare Krishna mantra when it's not full? Only how it be Paripurnam Amrutam kind of thing, right? That's what he was commenting on. How Ha itself is actually.
How Ha itself can give Purnamrita Swadana.
Yes, Purnam. How can it be Purna? It's not full mantra. Right? I recently listened to that.
Yeah.
He explained that.
Yeah.
In the 22 series.
Yeah. But one thing I can guarantee you is, if you read Mukundamala Stotra, you will get glimpses of that Purnamritaswadana, Pratipadam Purnamritaswadana. That is guaranteed. It's a very beautiful thing. Yeah. Prabhupada himself, it's favorite subject to Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not only that, Vishnu Sahasranama, commentary by Baladev Vidyabhushan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls it as Brihat Sahasranama. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Brihat Sahasranama. Especially when we are discussing about Bhīṣma Dev, who is in the mood of Aishwarya or Vishnu Narayana worship. So Bhīṣma Dev himself, glorifies Vishnu. Eko Vishnu Mahadbhutam Pratak Bhutan Yanekashaha Trilokan Vyapya Bhutatma Bhunte Vishwabhugavyayah Dyavasa Chandrarka Nakshatra Kamdisho Burmahodadi Vasudevasya Viryena Vidrutani Mahatmanaha Sasurasura Gandharvam Sayaksho Ragarakshasam Jagatpashe Vartatedam Krishnasya Sacharacharam. How beautifully he glorifies Vishnu. He's saying that the earth is the feet of Vishnu and the sky is his head, the air is his soul, the mountains are Dyavasa Chandrarka Nakshatra, the mountains are his ears, and then the sun and moon are his eyes. So like that gives a opulent description of Vishnu. So this is another thing that we can read. 1,000 different ways how we can glorify Krishna and Vishnu. Okay. So one final thing, and with that we'll end in like 5 minutes. So we just discussed how glorious the departure of Bhīṣma Dev was. Now when we think of glorious departures of devotees, after Bhīṣma Dev, who and all come to our mind?
Jatayu and Ramayana.
Jatayu, okay.
No,
Bali Maharaj, how?
Departure is saying. Parikshit Maharaj comes into the mind. Listening to Bhagavatam.
Mm-hmm. Okay. After Jatayu, especially glorious departure means, definitely Parikshit Maharaj's departure was certainly glorious. The most glorious type of departure is where Krishna was personally present during the departure. So Bhīṣma Dev, Jatayu, and who else?
No, you can say Narasimha and then Hiranyakashipu is not glorious.
No, for that matter, all the Kauravas also have glorious departure.
No, Narasimha personally killed.
See here, Bhīṣma Dev, when Bhīṣma Dev passed away, Krishna personally performed final rites. Jatayu also we know, as we can see in this picture, Lord Ramchandra performed final rites to Jatayu. Wali? Not as glorious as this.
Krishna performed there, so that's what the key is.
Huh? Krishna personally present.
That he was
Personally present.
and has to be a devotee.
Yeah. And the other one you mentioned, Antan Prabhu, Prabhupada's departure is also glorious. Yeah. Huh? Haridas Thakur, very good. Give a big round of applause to him. Haridas Thakur, yes. So, before the departure of Haridas Thakur personally told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying that during my departure, you must come and put your foot on my chest and let me say Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loudly, and then let me leave this body. You have to offer me this benediction. And then that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. When Haridas Thakur was in the final moments, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, put his foot on his chest, and then Haridas Thakur said loudly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 3 times, and then left his body. And then Mahaprabhu carried his body in a Sankirtana, and he immersed his body in that ocean in Puri and declared, saying that from now on, this is going to be a Tirthasthali. So, what a glorious departure. Yeah. And then, Prabhupada's departure. Even though Krishna was not there personally, but what was Prabhupada doing? He was reciting Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna himself. Yeah, he was translating. Yeah, he was dictating. So, and all of this is possible only by what? Only by doing what? Smarana.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, Smarana. Yeah. So, with that, I'll conclude here. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions, reflections? We can take it. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
The last verse, purport, what did Prabhupada explain that he got his duality dispelled and finally saw Krishna present everywhere?
Yeah.
So did Prabhupada explain anything? Was he saying differently?
So Prabhupada writes in the purport saying that Bhishma Dev attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Actually not in the 42 sloka, but 2 slokas later, Prabhupada writes in the purport saying that he attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a state, as we all know, it's a state of no desire, and all our mind, body, and mind, senses, intelligence, everything is fixed on Krishna. But I don't know why the usage of the word Samadhi there, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because that is mostly used for yogis.
Absorption.
Huh?
Absorption. Samadhi means absorption.
Yeah.
So Nirvikalpa means he doesn't have anything else. That's it.
In the translation of that shloka, it is also mentioned Bhishma Dev merged into Krishna.
Yeah.
So I think 43 or 44 shloka.
I think Gurujan Prabhu in his book, I think he clarifies that. Or I think we should also read it up. I don't remember exactly because I read this like 3 years back, 3 or 4 years when we were doing. He says that merging indicates actually it's not like Sarvajya Mukti because it is mentioned.
Yeah, he attained Parthasarathi planet.
So because it's a very generic term, then we say merging means merging into. Sometimes they say they merge into Brahma Jyoti, but not necessarily Brahma Jyoti.
Yeah.
They can go to the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Either Vaikuntha planet or Goloka, wherever they.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I thought, maybe it's not necessary to go into those details. So the point is he attained Parthasarathi Loka in Vaikuntha, where he eternally relished the form of Krishna as Parthasarathi.
One more thing which I remember when recalling those certain points coming to my mind is
Yeah.
that he was in duality because he was immediately before this he was fighting and he gave so much instructions. So that is all kind of in the. Of course, he is in a very high level platform, but that is still acting in the material world, doing the material duties.
Mm.
And then, he at one point he stopped those things, and then just focus his mind single pointed like a bumblebee.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the first sloka. Iti mati rupa kalpita.
First overcoming the duality and finally saying that one Paramatma in everyone, that is Sun. So until before that, what was he thinking? Right? That's what.
Okay, let's look at the translation again.
You see that.
Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord, Sri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. So in the
realization.
yeah, in the purport, Prabhupada writes the same thing. He talks about Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Bhishma Dev, I don't think he has these misconceptions. He was always in the mood of Vishnu Narayana, worship of Krishna.
Humility is probably saying. Bhaktivinoda Thakur many times says he puts himself the lowest of lowest and composes poems.
Yeah.
Maybe Bhishma Dev taking a humble position here.
Yeah.
I'm actually in reality, but he actually Mahajan.
Yeah.
Of course, yes.
That's
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Because for us, it's a teaching. Right? We have to give up duality towards the end of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe to attract, sometimes Krishna and devotees, they perform certain activities to bewilder the demons, and things like this they do to attract the impersonalists. If you are impersonalist, maybe better you become a personalist and worship the personal form of Krishna.
So you said like couple of things you said Bhakta Vatsalya.
Bhakta Vatsalyata, where Krishna is higher and devotee is lower.
Can you read that something?
Yeah.
Some notes kind of thing?
Yeah, I'll send you that. Yeah. Bhakta Vatsalyata, Bhritya Vashyata, Bhakta Vashyata, Bhaktair Jitatvam, Bhakti Baddham, Bhakta Paradina. Yeah, if you take these are two categories, Bhakta Vatsalyata and Vashyata. So within Vashyata there are 5. Yeah.
Bhakta Vatsalyata or Vashyata has 5 categories.
Yes. So Bhakta Vatsalyata is one category where Krishna is higher and devotees are lower. Krishna is showing affection to devotees, can be like a parent. Krishna can be like a parent showing affection to the children. And Vashyata means Krishna is being controlled by the love of devotees in different flavors. Sometimes he is conquered by the love of devotees. Sometimes he is controlled by the servants. Sometimes he is bound by the love of devotion, like how Yashodamai bound Krishna. Yeah. So this is mostly discussed in Damodar Ashtakam. Sanatana Goswami's Digdarshini Tika, he mentions this. Yeah, I'll send you the notes anyway. Yeah. So,
Bhishma Dev ki
Ishmadev ki jai.
Wonderful, Prabhu. First time I'm hearing you, so you have connections well made between one to another and remembering actual sloka and connecting various other things also into this lecture.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing way of delivery.
Thank you, Prabhu.
May Srila Prabhupada be happy with you.
Thank you. Yeah. So I only can do what my Guru Maharaj said here. By hearing Krishna Katha, even though I'm speaking, but I am hearing. I'm hearing Krishna Katha in the association of sincere devotees, and I'm praying for real sincerity. So please, all of you, please offer a prayer to Radha Nila Madhav and all the lordships, so that I can develop some sincerity. Ki jai.
Become successful.
What, Prabhu?
I said our prayer that you become successful in your endeavor.
Thank you, Prabhu. It will. Krishna will definitely hear your prayers.
So one, you can while eating also you can talk, but there are various prayers in Vaibhava, right? After that there is a Gayatri prayer, there is like immediately Kunti prayer is there, then Dhritarashtra prayers are there.
Prahlad prayers
Yeah,
coming up. Narasimha Chaturdashi is coming up now.
So again, these 11 set of prayers that Bhishma is reciting, like I would say, he's more like admiring, like, okay, I'm seeing Krishna in the battlefield. And
Yeah.
if you look into the other prayers, like it is more about, okay,
I don't want anything else. I only want your devotion.
Exactly, right? So it's, I would say,
Manye dana abhijana rupatavashrutaujas.
or the 4 prayers of Vitrasura, I say, I don't want anything, I just want your lotus feet.
Yeah.
So, is that because since he is in like Shanta and Dasya, that is not prominently shown, or like?
No, Vritrasura also is in Dasya Bhava, right?
Dasya Bhava?
Prahlad is also in Dasya Bhava. So they're all servants of Krishna, except Arjuna and Gopis. Most of the other prominent devotees, they are mostly in Dasya Bhava. So you're asking why Bhishma Dev described so many details of the Leelas, right? In his prayers.
Yeah. So he's like smart, he's remembering his own lifetime before he's putting his body in the form of the prayers.
So one thing that I read in Mahabharata is when Krishna comes to Bhishma Dev says, "Oh my Lord, let me give my daughter to you in marriage." Now Krishna says, "Your daughter? You're a brahmachari. How can you have a daughter?" And then Bhishma Dev says, "The Vidya Vadu." Okay, we hear from Shikshashtakam also, right? Vidya Vadu Jivanam. So let me offer my Vidya Vadu, the Kanya of knowledge, which is my daughter, to you. That means, let me offer my intellect to you. Now Bhishma Dev is describing what is stored in his intellect. What is stored in his intellect and his mind. So he's remembering all these things. These are the last minutes, right? See, other devotees, those prayers are not necessarily the last stage prayers. They are during lifetime. Prayers during lifetime, which we can offer, during our lifetime. Whereas Bhishma Dev, the prayers that he's offering on the deathbed, last minute. And as we all know, the entire life flashes in front of us at the time of death. And we see...
It's just going to death. That life.
Yeah. And we see everything, good and bad, and some bhakti that we have done. Similarly, Bhishma Dev is describing what and all he has seen. And maybe that's the reason why these episodes are not in a chronological order. First he describes the beautiful form of Krishna, Tribhuvana Lalitam, Tamala Varnam. And then he describes the beautiful form of Krishna on the battlefield. And then how Krishna was marching toward him with the broken chariot wheel. And then the Parthasarathi form. Krishna is just starting to ride the chariot. And then Rajasuya, Gopis. They're not in a sequence. Maybe this is what happens. When the life flashes in front of us, it will be random maybe. So no matter how random it is, no matter what Bhishma Dev was looking at back and forth, he is only remembering Krishna, nothing else. Maybe that could be the significance. In fact, last week after the class, Rajanan Prabhu asked me, why they are not in a sequential order. Then something just struck me that time and I shared with him. So that could be one reason. just like how light flashes randomly, right? It may not flash in a sequential order. And no matter where he is looking around, he is only seeing Krishna Leela. He is only remembering Krishna. Does that help, Prabhu? Yeah. Yeah. And there's one very, very popularly discussed point, kind of controversial, that we can discuss during prasadam. We can take prasadam and discuss. Like, when did actually Bhishma Dev leave his body?
February sometime, right? That's Bhishma. Not actually the Uttarana beginning.
Yeah.
It's later.
So
there is 60 days from the day something Mahabharata says.
Yeah.
When he fell down, from that day, 60 days.
Is anybody there online or? Okay. 1 second, Prabhu. Okay. Online, whoever is there, Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining.
Maybe
In the call here.
Maybe on Bhishma Astami started taking his all prana, and on Bhishma Ekadasi
What you are saying,
completed.
right? Bhishma.
It's actually Uttarayana, 3 weeks later or something it comes.
Yeah.
So that's 721 days. But actually Mahabharata is 60 days after he was put on that Ampasaya. After that he actually left. So and in between 30 days after the war, it took almost 30 days for Yudhishthira to understand the whole this thing also. So you have to add this, do this math. But not exactly on the day of Uttarayana he did leave.
Yeah.
It's after.
So there are different things about this, right? In Mahabharata or Bhagavatam, it is not mentioned.
No,
When
Mahabharata
exactly?
is mentioned. Mahabharata is mentioned. In the Bhishma last one is explaining all where you talk Charvaka and other thing.
Yeah.
In that one of the chapters where it says when Krishna says Bhishma has been lying on this bed for 45 days. Now you should go and get the knowledge, something like that. So then they give the exact calculation. But that doesn't match with our celebration of Gita Jayanti in December.
Yeah. See, if you see Gita Jayanti in December.
November sometime.
Yeah.
The war should happen in November and Bhishma fell. After Bhishma fell, it's only 8 days the war is, right? 10 days he fought, 8 more days.
Yeah.
And then 1 month Yudhishthira took.
Yeah.
And then Krishna said, you only have certain number of days. Now go learn from it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And then in the Bhagavatam, in these Bhishma Stuti prayers, right after that, it is mentioned Bhishma Dev left his body. Immediately after speaking Bhishma Stuti, he left his body.
Yeah, this is the end almost. The Stuti is coming after he explained everything to Yudhishthira. He explained everything to Yudhishthira.
Yeah.
Now he's in the final stage, he just prayed and left. He didn't leave immediately.
But you said after the war ended, 30 days, Yudhishthira Maharaj.
30 days he took care of taking care of all the dead people, but Shraddha ceremonies and everything.
Yeah.
And then Krishna advised now that Bhishma is waiting,
so
you should go and get the knowledge.
So that took another 30 days for Bhishma Dev to.
It has a particular number. He doesn't have many days, only these many days left.
Yeah.
And then Yudhishthira goes there. And then after that, then there is this prayer. He prays and leaves.
Okay.
And Vyasadeva is probably taking the last part of that and putting in Bhāva. So that according to that math, the war should not happen in December because it doesn't match.
Yeah.
Because what happened in the middle of December, it's not even 60 days.
Yeah.
Calculation did not work. So I'll get to the sloka. I read it 3 months ago.
Okay.
It's there in Mahabharata.
So, but Prabhupada comment saying that Bhishma Dev actually did not wait for that auspicious time of Uttarayana. He actually waited for Krishna, who is known as Uttarayana.
He's also.
Yeah. Because Krishna gave shelter to Uttara. And Krishna also took shelter of Uttara when he entered the womb of Uttara. He took shelter of Uttara. That's why he is known as Uttarayana.
Waiting for Krishna to come
there.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't leave. He waited.
Yeah. Because for devotees,
Incidentally both
happened maybe. Yeah. Because for devotees, we don't wait for auspicious time, good day, bad day. Maybe incidentally both happened at the same time. Yeah.
That's what Leelas means. Multiple things to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
But Mahabharata clearly has it.
Okay.
Yes, I'll get this one. But we have to do the math.
I asked Hariparsha Prabhu, like, I think January or February. During that Bhīṣma Stuti time, I asked him. He said, traditionally it is observed as Bhīṣma Stuti is the day when Bhīṣma Dev passed. But he only said it is not mentioned anywhere.
It is there actually. That what is. He said in the fortnight, almost 8 days are over or something like that. And that's when he left.
Okay.
So it says. So in the fortnight, 14 days, he says.
Because in one of the lectures, I think it was a lecture by Amarendra Prabhu given on Bhīṣma Stuti day. He spoke glories of Bhīṣma Dev, like 10-15 years ago, somewhere else. And Amarendra Prabhu said, Bhīṣma Stuti is the appearance day of Bhīṣma Dev.
I will give the actually I marked it
Yeah,
for Haripashad Prabhu.
That will be good to know.
Do the math.
Yeah.
The math is not adding up.
Yeah.
There is a difference even what Vyasadeva says later when Krishna says you only have these many days.
Yeah.
When I added it, there is a gap of a week or two, some is coming. So I was about to ask somebody else who knows this. I want to give these slokas and see them. I marked it. I will get to that.
So,
But
that's the only one. But, for us it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, it's a technical exercise.
Yeah. So, but if somebody asks, outsider, somebody asks, then we can have that reference. Yeah. Okay. Ki Jai. Mahaprasade Govinde. I thought you were going to say Govindo Mama Jeevanam.
Prasadam is Krishna. In fact, I had a case. I knew he was going to take up 10 o'clock.
You already had, huh? You can have one more time now.
10 o'clock is too late.
Upma, light.